we have a awesome show coming up, and I am going to let everyone. Did I just go live? Was I just talking to nothing? Just in case, welcome to Skagazine. It's going to be a great show tonight. I'm going to be monitoring the chat in and out, and I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves before we play a fun game. Am I live? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're live.
You're live.
My name is Jess. I am the host of Ska Talk with Skagazine. Thank you for joining us. We started this podcast off originally as what was supposed to be an e-zine, and it turned into a podcast because we found that bands really like to talk about themselves. So here we are, and almost 3 years later, we're still doing the thing, and we're for the first time talking to Adam Davis from Omnigone. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Is Eric gonna introduce himself?
Yes,
Great.
I'm gonna actually pass it off to Eric, aka Bo, on our episode. You don't know him as that, and let him say why he wanted to bring you on, because I know this was his get.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. So they call me Bo here in Skagazine world. Adam, I'll have you know that Slow Gherkin gave me the nickname of Bo. He was our first band guest that I participated in an interview with. We had a team member also by the name of Eric. Rest his soul. He unfortunately passed earlier this year, and big lover of all things ska. In any case, we had him on the podcast. We get in the room, and Slow Gherkin, James comes on and says, "There's too many Erics in this room. New guy, you need a nickname." And we spent the bulk of the episode tossing around nicknames, as Adam, as I imagine you would know in Slow Gherkin fashion. Many, many words, strange configurations. Mine was really long and just ended up as Bo. And Bo I became, joined the podcast late last year after Supernova, and here I am. And as you all may have already heard, got Adam Davis of Omnigone. We are honored to have you joining us today. Adam, welcome, and hit us with your 30-second elevator speech of why you're here and why you want to talk to us today.
Sure. I'm Adam D of Omniggon and formerly of Link 80. I know Bo / Eric from shows here in the Bay Area. And I think a couple of years ago, maybe at This Is Not Croydon, I was handed some Skagazine stickers. So I was aware of the project. And happy to come talk to you guys about music for a little while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when we met Adam back at Supernova in 2023, that was before Skagazine started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
And what a journey we've been on.
Yeah. Rachel, you want to play a little game, huh?
Yeah, I will start with a little ska game. Okay.
See what you did there.
You like that, right, Jess? Okay, the silly game for today is tell me if this is a real ska band or a made-up ska band.
All right.
Oh,
all right. I'm going to go to each one of you. If you get it wrong, you get a point. If you don't get it right, you don't get a point. I like to make it complicated. Okay. Opening up my names. Okay, we'll start with our guest, Adam.
All right.
Oh, where'd it go? Sorry, bear with me. I don't know where it went.
Where'd it go, and bear with me?
Where did it go?
Probably not ska band.
Document go. That's not the band. Okay, first band name. Third ska cousin.
Third ska cousin?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say fake.
Oh, I got it. It's not. Okay, you got a point.
All right. Does that mean I got it right? That it's not.
You got it right. That's fake.
Okay.
I really did lose my notes. I just had to look that one up. How's the weather in California? I'm using time. I need my list back.
Yeah, I'll do the David Lynch style weather report.
Perfect.
It's sunny, slightly overcast, warm. It's lovely here.
It's
This is why it's so expensive to live in the Bay Area. It's always nice here.
oh, here it is. Oh,
I
mwah.
agree with you on all
Perfect
accounts.
amount of time. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, we will go to Bo. Ready, Bo?
Who's ready?
And by the way, do you know that I was calling you Bo to all of Pioneer Valley, and that's why I think people were confused. to when I was like being like, just so you know, he's your #1 fan, blah blah blah, like drunk me. And Jess was like, no one knows him as Bo but us. Okay.
That is true.
Speaking of the bands from out there, like Horizon Point and Voluntary Hazing.
Yes, it was Voluntary Hazing that I kept being like, Bo, Bo, Bo. And they were like, oh, okay. Okay. Let's see, which one am I gonna do? Okay. Scaba the Hut.
Ooh. I want to say that is a band name. I feel like I've heard of it.
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
Correct.
Not only is that a real band, but that's the band that either I think the Bravery, their lead singer, was in, or one of those other early 2000s.
Yep, the new the Bravery. You're right.
Yep.
And I thought that was a fun one because they formed at Vassar College, which is near me. So I was like, I know that place, and so I like them. Okay, Jess, you ready?
As ready as I'm going to be.
For you, I'm giving you the Two-Tone Boners.
Fake.
Fake?
Mm-hmm.
Real.
That is a real band.
Boners?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
And if anyone needs to know, if you also are worried that you have a two-tone boner, if you type that in, you can also get information on that. It's okay. Some people have different skin colors, so don't worry. Google will give you the answers. Okay, back to you, Adam. We'll do two more rounds. All right. Polly Shore and the Skanks.
Polly Shore and the Skanks. Gonna say fake.
Yes, but I did make that up. Anyone's open to take it. I think it's good.
All right. Yeah, I think that would be a good one.
Yeah, as long as I get royalties.
Yes.
All right, Bo. Bo, you ready?
Bo. Hit me with it.
Aska, Aska, and you shall receive.
Not a ska band.
Not a ska. No. Yes, no, it's not a ska band. You're right.
I didn't like that.
I made that up, and I guess I gaslighted myself.
She gaslighted her so much that she disappeared.
I'm so glad I don't have to answer again. I think Adam won. I think, yeah.
Well, if Rachel comes back, I can hit you guys with a bonus round because I've got some real or fake band names for you guys.
Okay.
But most bizarre real band name that you've come across in your time, Adam?
Two-Tone Boners was pretty good. They were actually a good band. They were actually really good. Nate Funk was in that band. He's in Odd Robot now. Yeah, they were good. Let's see. What's a weird band name? I mean, there's a band that I think is actually pretty good right now. I think they're called Harry Cats and the Pistachios.
Oh yes, we had them on the show.
Yeah, like they're great, but that name is terrible. I mean,
and
no
Rachel
offense. That is a crazy name.
I hear a lot about Scapository too. Good band.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Scapository is probably the most heinous one. That's a crazy name. No offense to them as musicians or people, but that name is crazy.
Yes,
I think people. Yeah.
And they're a great band, and we've had them on as well. But yeah,
awesome.
Quite the name.
So nice. Yeah. I'm back. Hey.
Hey.
I like to keep everyone on their toes with my technical difficulties. Okay. Who was I at?
Me.
All right. Skanker Store.
That is Oh fuck, we talked about this on the Impossibles show. I'm gonna say it's fake, but you wanted that to be your band name.
Oh my God. I love you. Thank you
I
so much for
listened to you,
listening.
Rachel.
All right. You're the only, thank you. Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Technically, we never played a show, and technically, we had no musical skills. But yeah, that's what our band name was.
So Skankersore might not be a real band, but there was a ska punk band called the Cankersores featuring members of the Icarus line who famously hate ska.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, the guitar player from the Icarus line ran a website called Buddyhead where they reviewed two Link 80 releases. Um, Struggle Continues was listed the top 10 worst albums of 2000 by them, with the review just being ska punk on fast forward, make it go away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They sound
One
like
of the other worst albums, I believe, was also Radiohead, Kid A. So, we were in good company, I guess.
That's funny. That's really funny. You are full of ska.
Information.
Wow.
I've been doing this for a minute.
I
This
feel like
gray
I'm
beard
listening
isn't for nothing.
Wait,
like I'm listening like one of my cool college professors who had like all the good knowledge.
Trying.
All right, that brings me back to, am I back to you, Adam?
Yeah, I'll take it. Let's go.
Whimsicala. Like
Whim-
whimsical, but whimsicala.
That's fake.
Yeah. But you can take it if you want it. Okay.
Sounds fun.
Adam has a perfect score.
Yeah, he does. Another point. Okay, Bo, ready?
Yep.
Bomb scare. Ska's in the middle. Like bomb scare, but SK instead of SC.
I'll take it. Sounds pretty believable.
Yes, they are or Adam, do you know who they are?
I don't, but that is actually a great band name.
Yeah, and they're a Scottish ska band. They seem pretty cool, actually. I didn't know them before tonight.
We should check them out.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely was interested in them. And that brings us. Did I just do Bo? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jess.
All right, Jess. Audrey and the Hepburns.
Is that real? I think that's real. No,
Are you going with real?
going with real.
No, I made it up. It's good. It's good.
Nice.
I am very bad at this game.
And that's my favorite one I made up. So if someone takes that as their band name, let me know.
You're starting a lot of bands here tonight, Rachel.
I know. Oh, look, I have Audrey Hepburn on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Copyright
There we
all
go.
these.
Okay, I'm taking over. Bonus round. Here we go. Jess, you get the first one.
All
Ready?
right.
Battle Ska Galactica.
That's real.
That is absolutely real. They had an orange sticker.
Mhm. I think I've
yeah.
seen this. I don't know that I've listened to them, but I've seen it.
Okay, Bo, you're next.
Here we go.
Lubby Nugget.
I'm gonna go with no, but I enjoy it.
It's real. They're
Wow.
real. It's a UK ska punk band. Yeah, they were kind of more sublime sounding. Rachel, you're next.
Ready?
Metallica.
Fake.
Real.
What?
Yeah, and also not their guitar players were not good enough to play any of the guitar solos, neither were their horn players, so they would just hum the guitar solos.
Then Jess, you were wrong with Skankersore. If we didn't actually have to play well, then we were a band. So
There you go. Real band. Real band.
Oh, damn. I got 0. Well, I got 1 point from Adam from the bonus round.
You got 1,000,000 points from me because you remember something I said so long ago.
Oh.
So Jess actually wins my
Now we're getting a little sappy here. So I guess we should focus on the band that we are talking about here, which is Omnigone, and Adam.
Real name.
Real band, Omnigone.
Real band.
You promised me that we would have 2 hours of playing the game. I have 1,000,000 more.
I don't think that's what people are here for. Like, people are already asking questions, Rachel.
They will tell me in the chat room. Carry on.
Somebody did compliment your Discount Fireworks shirt in the chat. His name is Jeff. Nice shirt.
This band.
But what I want to do now is circle back to a long time ago when Adam was first discovering music. I want to know, what was that moment in time or CD or artist that you were exposed to that made something click, that you knew that music was for you?
Music in general or ska music?
It could be music in general.
Okay, because it's kind of, I mean, I'm gonna give you three really quick.
Yeah, we don't all
Um,
start with ska, right?
no, I was already kind of into metal. Like my older brother's about 4 years older than me, and I kind of inherited a lot of his music, and he was listening to a lot of thrash metal, a lot of death metal, and Janet Jackson, and uh, and rave music. And so I was watching Headbangers Ball
Oh, I
on
missed that show.
MTV, and the Anthrax video for Persistence of Time, the Persistence of Time album, the song uh gosh, what's the name of the song? Uh it's the one that starts with the quote, you think I'm in jail, man, I'm already in jail. Don't you know this life's just one big cell? And listening to that song, Anthrax are a great band, but nothing they're doing is hard. It's
Uh-huh.
all kind of caveman riffs, and I remember not being able to play an instrument, and but like feeling like I got struck by a bolt of lightning, and I was like, I could do this. I want to be in a band, and kind of having that moment, like I kind of like panicked. I was like 14 or I was 15. I'd never played any sort of music, you know, and I was just like, I want to be in a band, but I don't know how. And so like from that day forward, it was like had to figure out how to be in a band. And then of course Nirvana happened a little while after that. And that kind of made things even more accessible because it's just punk rock power chords. And then once I had my own band, we started playing just kind of like backyard shows in Gilroy, where I grew up. And Aaron Carnes from In Defense of Ska, he had a ska punk band. They started as like a Rush police blues lawyer kind of sounding band. Like they were bad. But then they saw Skank and Pickle at one point and they turned into this crazy ska punk band that were great. And my friends Seth and Jeff both played saxophone in that band. They had a horn section that was three saxophones, which is somehow worked. They were great. But that was what got me into ska punk. Seeing Flat Planet, and then eventually going and seeing Skang and Pickle, going and seeing the Rudiments, seeing Janitors Against Apartheid, and eventually I joined Flat Planet and I played a show with Link 80 here in the Bay Area at a club called Club Cocodrie in San Francisco, and they hit the stage like a bomb, and I was hooked. I was just like, whatever they're doing, that's what I want to do, and that is the path that led me to where I'm sitting right now.
I feel like there's a little more in the middle.
I mean, yeah, but like that was what set me on this path. Like seeing Link 80 that one time was enough for me to like, I wanted to be friends with those guys. I played a couple more shows with them, and then eventually they placed an ad in our local music paper called BAM Magazine. And there was a small ad that said, young established ska punk band seeking horns and guitar player. Black Flag meets Scotalites meets something else called Black Nick. And I was like, this is Link 80. This has to be Link 80. And I contacted him, and Nick eventually got back to me. I came over to his house, practiced with the band, and then they went on tour in 1997, broke up in the middle of that tour in Milwaukee. Nick flew home. Joey Busos and Adam Pereira took the train home. That's a whole other story. And the rest of the band was driven home. And then literally a month later, Nick overdosed and passed away. And at that point, we weren't sure what we were going to do. And then we just continued the band. I'd kind of put all of my eggs in one basket. I didn't have a real plan for my future. I was going to community college, just doing general ed requirements and kind of just getting into trouble in my hometown, throwing things off this bridge. That was kind of the fun thing to do for me, was like to find old computers and throw them off this bridge and then go down to the bottom and smash them with rocks. Um, Really just super nihilistic, stupid kid stuff. But I was like, 19, 20 at that point.
Yeah,
So,
as a
not,
as a newer sort of ska fan, I guess, who's kind of aware of the history. I know that Link 80 was pretty big in the East Bay punk scene. As I don't know if you would call it like the defining or seminal band of the era, but I'm sure with Nick's passing and everything, that was kind of a significant turning point in your approach to music and your music career, right?
yeah, it changed the band dynamic because the early version of that band really hinged on Nick's charisma. And later with Ryan Noble in the band, not saying that Ryan's not charismatic, but I feel like our whole band started to coalesce as this like live entity where we were all kind of firing on all cylinders, and the whole band was fun to watch. Like we were all like insane. We were all feral animals, basically. Like if you see footage of Link 80 from like 2000, 2001, we're like we're like insane. We're just like throwing ourselves around super hard and screaming and having fun. And everybody's doing vocals. Like Ryan sure is the lead vocalist, but like everybody's just screaming. Um, yeah, we were crazy.
Yeah, I almost feel like there's a resurgence of that, and like the younger bands that we're seeing out here. Like I, I believe you've seen Chudson when they've come through here before, right?
Yeah, I mean, Chudson, I think they're more in line with like kind of what Jeff Rosenstock's been doing. I feel like they write really, really good songs, both Jeff and Chudson, and then they just kind of, but they unleash them in a really unhinged fashion, which is really fun to watch. We were definitely trying to just be a hardcore band, and we also all thought we were going to die. So we were just
Huh.
these crazy young people who didn't think we were going to make it to 30, um, either through violence or through an accident. I don't think any of us really planned for the future. Here I am a year from 50, and I'm just like the last 20 or so years of my life has felt pretty special, because I didn't really expect any of this.
Yeah, and I feel like you're leading my question here. Obviously, there's a huge evolution and maturity from your time in Link 80 to now. Take us through that line, from those days to the point where you decided to start Omnigone in here now.
Sure. Yeah. I did a couple other bands in between Link 80 and Omnigone. But there was a lot of missteps and me feeling burned out on music, and me also feeling like, when I turned 30, that I felt disillusioned by punk rock and by the local scene. And I think a lot of people go through this. I don't think it's just me. I've seen this echoed in a lot of my peers. And then in 2016, Link 80 played one more show for the Asian Man Records 20th anniversary. And that ignited a fire in me and made me feel like I miss playing this type of music. I know that the rest of these guys don't want to do this, but I mean, some of them do, because Barry's doing it with me. Barry had been, a proponent for a long time of, hey, let's do a ska punk band. And so it took me about 3 years from 2016 to 2019 to really like go, okay, if I'm gonna think about this, I'm gonna think about this so much. It's one of those things where it's like it just kept popping into my head, like, you should do a band, you should do a band, you should do a band. And I just did it. And I'd really had no goals for it other than I wanted to record some music and just put it up online for free. And that was going to be it. And turns out I ran into Mike Sosinski at the gym. He was wearing an Asian Man Records shirt, and I just walked over and introduced myself, not knowing who he was. I guess I'd actually met him at Asian Man 20 through Brent, but I met a ton of people that day, so I didn't remember him. Sorry, Mike. But yeah, I just found out that, Bad Time Records was here, 3 miles from where I lived at the time, and recorded all these songs with Brent. And then Brent was like, "What are you going to do with this music?" And I was like, "I don't know, put it online for free." He said, "Well, why don't you ask Bad Time if they want to put it out?" Because Bad Time was brand new at that time. I was like, "Yeah, you think he'd want to put it out? That's cool." And then I guess on the other side of that conversation, Brent was talking to Mike, like, "Yeah, we just recorded this stuff. It kind of sounds like Link 80 style." He's like, "Oh, do you think Adam would want to put it out with me?" So we just got together and talked it out, and then put out our first record, and it just kind of went from there. Um, and I think the most fulfilling thing for all of this is it's validated a lot of the time I spent in my 20s when I should have been starting a career or going to school, um, when I was on tour all the time. It put me back in touch with people that I missed, and Omnigon's even taken it a step further, where now I have relationships and friendships with people who were playing music back then, like Mustard Plug and the Suicide Machines and Against All Authority, but Link 80 never had contact with. Um, we were pretty insulated. We headlined our own tours, so we were never on support tours really. Like, we knew Voodoo Glow Skulls, we knew Bucko Nine, and outside of that, we knew some bands that we really loved, but nobody else really remembers. The Siren Six, Animal Chin, those sort of bands, Absence. Um, but now, the other day I was listening to Against All Authority, and I noticed something funny in one of the recordings, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I could just text these guys and ask them about it. And so I just texted Danny and Joe and was like, "Hey, what's up with this?" And they just texted me right back. And it was like, that's I think my favorite accomplishment in all of this is being a part of this community again.
I
That
think
was
I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna jump the gun a little bit here, Bo, and
Go
get
for it.
into Bad Time and what it means to be a part of that label. You're a veteran on the label, and you've gotten to see a lot of bands get out of it since you've joined the label. So, like, what does that community specifically mean to you?
Um, it's been really, really amazing. It's kind of where all the bands that I enjoy listening to wind up landing. There's just like a certain through line with Mike's music taste that really overlaps with where my music taste is. Um, and like, even like Catbite, they were one of the first bands that came out on Bad Time, and I remember seeing them get posted on Punk News and being like, "Oh, this band's sick," and they play ska. Because, like, I think a lot of people from my generation who are in ska bands hold on to something that Rory from the Impossibles kind of coined, called ska guilt, where you feel like, "Oh, this maybe isn't cool," or, what's the cool indie rock person gonna think of me because I played in a ska band, and then you grow up and you kind of realize that they're full of shit too, and that ska is just as legitimate as anything else. And ska also isn't the, like, tiny microcosm that everybody wants to, like, shove it into. Sure, there's like a goofy aspect to some bands, and that's okay. There's goofy bands in every genre, literally every genre. Like, the hardest hardcore has a goofy band that's just as silly as the Aquabats. I guarantee. They're called Steak Sauce Mustache. Look them up. They're like a hardcore band, and they're
Real?
goofy as hell. Um, but ska is, I would say ska is when we say I listen to rock music, what does that mean? Like rock is such a wide genre. And at this point, ska is a wide genre because ska is just the inverse of rock because it's literally just that rhythm. It's putting it on the upbeat, right? On the upbeat. Shout out on the upbeat. Um, it's it's literally just, instead of it being that constant down of rock music, it has that lift. So now we've got ska that kind of is all over the place. And people who do traditional ska sometimes want to hang on to, well, no, ska is just this one specific thing. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, it was that specific thing, but it's now all these things. It's still that. It's still, Derek Morgan and the Scotalites and all the early stuff, but it's now the best of the worst, which, if you went to 1960s Jamaica and you played the best of the worst, they'd be like, it would melt their brain. But it's still ska. It's a wider genre. So I've gone off the rails here. I'm sorry, but
Okay, we do that.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, we're here for it. Gosh, everything you spoke about for the past like 15 minutes at least is like there's the kind of stuff that when I started getting into podcasts and ska, I was like, ooh, I want to,
Oh,
absorb more.
I remember what my point was. Catbite is cool. That was my point.
Catbite
Catbite is cool, and they play ska, and that made me go, hell yeah, I want to play ska again. Like there was all these like I could probably make like a 50-point chart of all the different things from that made me want to start a ska band again. And one of those is Catbite was cool.
Oh,
I was like, oh, Catbite's really good. That makes me want to play ska.
that's
Shout out.
fun. We
shout-
love Catbite.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't?
I have a
Who
Catbite
doesn't?
tattoo.
Yeah,
I don't get tattoos.
they'll be here for the record store opening, Bad Time Records, in a few weeks.
I love that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm lucky to see them often because I'm in Philly.
I
And
know. Shut up, Jess. Lucky.
I got to pet Nacho a couple of years ago. That was a highlight of going to Philly.
yeah. All right, but
Well,
I'm giving it back to you now. Sorry.
yeah, definitely. We came here for a reason to talk about Omnigone, which we will. Obviously, you've had a lot of, well. Let's put it this way: when we have bands on here, and we want to get some kind of idea of what kind of sound they have, we usually do this podcast during dinner time, West Coast time, and makes you a little hungry, right? So one time.
Oh, he's not
Was
gonna
a sandwich.
There he is.
If
Okay,
your
wait.
band sound was, yeah, I see my internet connection is unstable. Are we stabilized again?
Yeah, you're
Just start
stabilized.
where you said-
Start where you stopped.
Okay, so if your band's sound was a sandwich, let's say like the pieces of bread are kind of like the foundation. You got your meat, your protein, whatever you have in the middle is kind of like the big thing that you're there for, and you also got toppings of your choice that you put on there to give it the extra flavor. Describe us what a Omnigone sandwich, what kind of bands, what kind of genres, what sort of influences would build the Omnigone sandwich?
All right, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I was gonna say knuckle sandwich, but I don't think that's what you're looking for. And if we're gonna talk about Omnigone, it's not a sandwich at all. It's a burrito. It has to be a burrito. So the tortilla is definitely just gonna be ska punk, right? That's the tortilla, and then well, I guess the tortilla is ska, but then the beans and the rice, that's hardcore and punk, right? And then the pico de gallo is probably Voodoo Glow Skulls, and then the carne asada is probably the Suicide Machines, and then the avocado is probably Against All Authority, and then what else do I like? The cheese, probably What would the cheese be? Cheese would be Link 80. The cheese is Link 80. There we go. And then, you just get a little bit of tapatio and you're good to go. Maybe you put some French fries in there. Uh, but yeah,
You
that
washing it
sounds good
down
to me.
with the Mountain Dew, perhaps?
Washing it down with a Baja Blast from Taco
Absolutely.
Bell. I like it straight from the tap. I don't like it in the can as much, although Brent just bought some in glass bottles and was gloating the other day to me. They got glass bottles of Baja Blast with cane sugar.
I was gonna say,
Mm,
do they have cane sugar? Because the
cane sugar, yeah.
yeah,
Best way to
Rachel,
have
are you raising your hand, Rachel?
she is. I don't know if she means to.
it.
But
Give
are
you a
you
high
mute?
five there.
You're not muted. Is she frozen?
Yeah, she looks a little
I
frozen.
I am raising my hand because we're talking about Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, Rachel loves Taco Bell.
Are you
Oh yeah.
telling me that you like Baja Blast?
Yeah. What's your go-to order at Taco Bell?
This is the best interview ever, first of all. Oh, am I on mute?
No,
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 you're
I'm not
you're
on
good.
mute.
You're ready to go.
I have headphones on. It's confusing me. A black bean chalupa, no sour cream.
Oh wow.
And definitely, I like their frozen drinks, but definitely not Baja Blast. Mountain Dew is disgusting.
Okay.
We got to do this sandwich thing and like translate her meal into a ska band in reverse.
Burrito, I don't know if you guys, I wrote in the chat because I was off screen, but burrito's the best answer I've heard to change it to burrito instead of sandwich.
I tried to change it to hoagie one time, and everyone got mad at me because they're not from Philly.
I feel like
I mean,
everyone
just
knows hoagie though. That's weird.
Yeah,
where I live, I just don't feel like sandwich. If I have the option of burrito or sandwich, I'm going burrito every time.
That's 100,000,000%. Yeah.
I have a funny story too. Barry, when Barry first joined Link 80, it was always kind of like his first day on Earth, and he would at every single restaurant try to order a burrito. So we'd be at Denny's, and he'd be like, burrito." He's gotten better about that.
That's the right
but
answer
I can't help.
everywhere.
I can't help but give him shit about it.
All right, Jess, I think it's yours.
she's a little bit frozen again. I was giving her a chance to answer, but yeah. All right. Where am I? Oh, we're way down. Okay. So we kind of talked about how Omnigone got started when we were talking about your path. Where did the name come from? Since we were talking band names.
It came from an experience that I shared with some of my friends that I make weird art with, weird experiential art. Um, there was a thing here in the Bay Area called the Latitude, which was a fake cult that I belonged to. But a fake cult, even when you pretend to have a fake cult, it kind of just turns into a real cult. Um, and the inner circle of the fake cult was called the Omnigone. And to join the Omnigone, you got invited to a special retreat in Mendocino, and you were given a special patch, and you spent a weekend with these other like minds uh, in this fun location. And yeah, I was just really taken with that name. The group eventually disbanded, and when I was thinking about band names, I knew what I wanted the name to look like on a shirt. I knew I wanted it to tie back to Link 80 in some way. Um, and I knew I wanted it to not, you to not be able to tell if it was a hardcore band or a punk band or a ska band. I wanted it to just kind of stand alone. And so I wrote out a list of names, and then Omnigone just came to me in a flash. And I mocked it up on my computer in Photoshop. I took the Link 80 zero and made it the O. Because I'd already been playing with the idea of keeping that element. Because I always really loved that in the Link 80 logo. And then I added an E to the end of it because it was Omnigone, like just Gon at the end. So I added the E so that it would be its own thing. And then I just put it to Barry. I was like, what do you think of this name? And he was just like, that's great. Let's go with it. Um,
I
so
think
that,
that's
The
probably one of the better band name origins I've heard.
yeah,
yeah,
the,
That's
I mean,
where, like,
I'd thought about it a lot. Like the band that Aaron Carnes and I were in had a really good band name also. It was Narboots, Gnarboots. And I loved the way that name looked, like written out on things and on t-shirts. I feel like the main test, okay, and this is for anybody out there. I'm going to speak right into the camera right now. For anybody out there thinking about starting a new band, please think about what your band name is going to look like on a t-shirt when people can't hear your music and you just have a person that you respect wearing your band's shirt in public. How do you want that to present to the person who doesn't know your band seeing it? So when you have something across somebody's chest, what does that show you? How are you seeing that? Like, God bless him, but Mustard Plug is a terrible band name. Like, and I think Colin would, Colin would agree. Um, but they're stuck with it now. Like, right? Like we all love Mustard Plug. Like they're great, but that name is crazy. Like it's a gross name. Um, whereas like my kid wears Suicide Machines shirts to school and just looks like a badass.
Mhm.
He doesn't even really listen to Suicide Machines that much. He's kind of, he hears them in the car when I listen to him. But he's listening to Chudson, because that's his era. Uh, but it looks dope. Like he wears them because the shirts they look tough. Like it's his first day of school shirt last year was the God is dead, ska is not shirt. Because he just knows what he's presenting. So folks who are starting a new band, think about what your band name is going to look like on a shirt. Because if it doesn't translate to a shirt, maybe it's not the right band name. And that's my PSA. Thank you.
wise words.
So,
Absolutely.
and
Thank you.
you're saying that also as an artist, like, how long have you been doing art? Just as long as music, or did that come later in life?
My whole life, unfortunately,
Okay.
I started drawing really young. My earliest memories are of drawing. Um, and I went from drawing to music and kind of gave drawing a back seat for a couple of years and then kind of came back around. And then recently I just finished a degree in studio art, uh, about a year and a half ago now. So I finally
Congrats.
finished, thank you, finally finished up my college. Only took me 30 years to get to it. But I got through it. Um, yeah, I've been making art kind of my whole life, and um, not to get up on my soapbox again, but that's why I find it so frustrating when people want to use AI for things like flyers. Um, and I hate to be the one to like dogpile on people either. Like I saw somebody getting dogpiled hard in the Supernova group
Me
today
too.
because they made this thing, and I think what was in their heart, what they wanted to present to the world, like this thing that they were trying to be helpful with, it was well intentioned, but it was a poor execution.
Of course.
And everybody was just kind of piling on this person being like, you know, this is dog shit. When really I think it would have been a little bit more constructive to say, hey, just instead of using a computer to do this, do it yourself.
Mm.
Because that's kind of what this is. It's DIY culture. We're making things ourselves. And anytime you give over your art to the robots, you're giving a part of your soul away. You're saying like, and I know that you're busy. I know everybody's busy, but like every part of this is art. Like album covers are art, music videos are art, flyers are art, stickers are art. Like some people like get down on the whole like, oh, I feel like a t-shirt salesman making, selling merch at shows. You don't have to feel that way. Like the shirt is another piece of art. Like it's a wearable piece of art. Like I never think of shirts as just like a commodity. Like I love band shirts. They're all I wear. Like either I'm wearing a black plain t-shirt like I'm wearing right now, or I'm wearing another band's shirt. or my own band's shirt, because this is the culture that I care about. Like, I love DIY culture. I love punk. I love ska. I love hardcore. Why would you allow this like lifeless entity to take over for you? Um, and I've seen people also be like, oh, well, if we're not supposed to use AI, I'd like to see you try to do your job. Like, buddy, if you're doing your job using AI, like you've already like you're blowing it. Like, and I understand hating a job. Like, I've worked jobs that I absolutely hated. Um, but there's other ways to phone it in. That's what I'm trying to say. You can find a different way to fuck off at work if that's really what you're trying to do.
Mhm.
And I got to tell you, I mean, just looking at AI art and say looking at some art that Adam created, like you naturally feel like a million times better about what has been hand created. There's so much more life, so much vibrancy at the art tells a story, and not only story that the artist is trying to put out, but the inherent story of the artist coming up with it, putting it
Yeah.
together. And I could tell you, if I had a band and I wanted flyers done, or t-shirts, I would feel millions of times more proud to display Adam's artwork on it versus
Yeah. Or
something
even
that's
just, I
computer
mean, I
generated.
even like, I'm sure even like you drawing a stick figure on a piece of paper and writing band names next to it, I would go to that show 1,000 times before I will go to a show with an AI art flyer. I will like purposefully not go to a show that I want to go to if somebody's made a flyer with AI. I will unfollow bands if their art is all done in AI, because it's corny, and it's, and like I've said, you're giving a piece of your art away, and like that's just, it's too important. Like, we're none of us are going to get rich doing this. Like, even the bands that look like they're really successful, like they're scraping by. And so what do you want to leave behind? Do you want to leave behind some art that like is wonderful, that somebody's going to discover later, and it's going to like change somebody's life in some small way, hopefully? Or do you want to put some corny AI slop on your album cover, and it's all just going to look, it's going to look so incredibly dated. It already looks dated to have that sort of art. So just
Not to
don't.
mention, like I said, just lifeless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
almost the
Lifeless.
same.
Yeah.
There's nothing unique about it at all.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't
Absolutely.
Well,
understand how bands they want to promote their music and they work so hard on their music and then they present it that way. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody hadn't heard your music yet, they're not going to come listen to it because you put something like that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So the people who are coming up with the bands and the band names and thinking about what it looks like on the shirt, don't do that in AI.
Please don't. You can either
yeah.
just have your friend draw it yourself, or hire me to draw it. Like, I work so cheap. I've done so many pieces of art for bands completely for free, because sometimes I don't feel good about charging bands that I know are scraping by. Um, like, I'm always happy to get a little bit of money, but like I've totally done designs for bands that I've gotten $0 for. And I'm happy to do it because I would rather someone have a piece of art made by a fellow human being who cares about them than by some lifeless computer thing.
Adam, do all your is it for your 4 studio albums? Do they all feature your artwork on the cover?
They do. Yeah, they
How
do.
about
Every single
that?
one. Yeah. So No Faith has a drawing of some snakes on the cover. Against the Rest has a skeleton hand reaching for a hourglass that's running out. Pharaoh was a big, I think, 3 foot by 3 foot painting that I did for college of some teeth being gritted. And then the most recent one is just a photograph I took of this skull that I keep on my desk here, that was given to me by a departed friend, from the neighborhood. When he passed away from a motorcycle accident, I inherited two pieces of art from his house, and I one of the pieces I got was the skull that's on the cover of Turn Up the Fear, and I've just had it sitting on my desk for a couple of years now, and I look at it all the time. And during when I used to co-host In Defense of Ska, when we first started the podcast, we wouldn't do video like we're doing right now. We would just do audio, which was nice because I felt like I could really concentrate and just listen to people talk. But one of the things I would do is I would sit here with a scalpel and I would pick at the skull, because there was like somebody had epoxied gums over the teeth. And I was like, that looks gross. So I was like picking it off, picking it off, picking it off. And then one of the teeth fell out. And I looked at the tooth and it was a real tooth. And then I looked inside the skull and I could see that the hole in the skull is a real hole. And I was like, oh, this is a real skull. Like, this isn't like a skull made out of, plastic or something. So this is probably from a medical skeleton. They got parted out and had all this, these metal components, this shifter added to the top of it, and it became really special. It's this, it was originally inside of somebody, just like all of us. I don't know about you guys, but I sit all the time and like rub my face and feel what my skull feels like under here, and I'm always like, man, I hope somebody gets to keep this skull at some point. That'd be cool. It'd be a big skull. I got a big head.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, that was it was just so great to see your artwork on 4 albums in the span of 7 years. It's quite a run. 3 of those albums were released in the last 3.
Yeah.
I sort of remember hearing from another podcast a long time ago that, kind of when you started Omnigone, that you just started writing and recording like just all at once. Your new album, Turn Up the Fear. Do those contain any elements from those original recording sessions that have just been like cooking for so many years?
Two of the songs on the new record date back to the same era that I was demoing songs for Against the Rest. So Flag Burner and As Above, So Below were both demos that I made during the pandemic. And they finally it took a while for those to cook all the way. And now they're out into the world. Barry writes the majority of the music at this point. He's very passionate about it, and he's also very prolific and musically capable. And so he is constantly demoing new material. As of right now, we have 11 new songs that have been demoed since the album came out. And there's also a backlog of songs that predate that from maybe the Feral session. And then there's also maybe some odds and ends that I demoed. There's a whole lot of stuff. If any bands out there need songs, Barry will give you a song. Like, if you're like, man, it takes us forever to write a song, man, let Barry write your record. He'll kill it. He writes really fast. He doesn't always just write stuff that sounds like Omnigone. So if you wanted something a little bit more, uh, reggae influenced, hit my boy up. He'll make it work for you. Um, but yeah, we are very prolific. The demoing process for Turn Up the Fear was pretty extensive. We added Frank Piagaro from Starfucking Hipsters and Warriors about a year ago. He was just a friend through Kamal and Parks. Uh, and I went to see Frank play with a band called Mutilated Tongue. The singer in Mutilated Tongue is Brian Stern, East Bay legend. He has printed our merchandise for my bands since 2002. Uh, and he's been in a ton of bands. Look Back and Laugh, California Love. Uh, what's his big one? I can't remember. He was in a big Gilman one. Anyways, his new band's called Mutilated Tongue. I went to see him. Frank was playing second guitar, and I was like, "Wow, Frank's really good at guitar. Maybe he'd want to play with us." And didn't realize exactly how good Frank was because he was just playing hardcore. Frank is probably the best guitar player I've ever played music with. He's on a completely different level, and I feel really lucky to have him on this record, and hopefully he'll continue playing with us.
Awesome. So out of the all the songs, a good majority of them are fairly new, fairly newly written. What was kind of the motivation or the driving forces behind the writing of the most recent songs?
Um, we really liked where we went with Feral, the third record. It was a lot more hardcore leaning. We made a conscious decision to not have horns. The previous records had horns, but it was always just kind of friends from other bands filling in. And all of them are great. All the people who played horns on those records are great. The problem is that they don't live here. We had Andrew from Flying Raccoon Suit. He's out in Mississippi. We had Jer, who's out in Florida. Um, we had Steve Borth from Link 80, who lives in Denmark. We had all these different horn players. And the problem is that we don't want to have bad horns on in our live band or on the record. So yeah, for now it's just easier to be a four piece. It's more economical for touring. It's easier to fit four of us in a van than even five of us. We were playing as a five piece, and with Frank on guitar now, it doesn't feel necessary to have a double guitar attack. Even as much as I liked the chaos of it, I think we're a little bit more finely honed as a four piece. Uh, so yeah, we made a commitment to not having horns, which, I feel like is a mark against you in the ska community because a lot of what people are looking for is, even if they want something heavier, they want hardcore with horns, which is, I'm down. Like I like hardcore with horns, but um, unless I can have a certain caliber of horn player, I'd rather omit the horns for now. Um, because just only so many, and this is not a slight to anyone that I've played with. I just know that everybody has busy lives, and I can't expect the same commitment from them uh, with everything that they have going on in their lives for what I want. Um, if it came to a point where like we blew up, like we became Metallica, uh, I would totally add a horn section because I would be able to like, pay two or three musicians and change their lives. Um, but like as a scrappy little punk band, it just doesn't make sense.
Yes, you're up.
You good, Jeff? You good?
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned earlier, Adam, that this album means a lot to you, and
Mhm.
you told people to come listen to you talk about an album that means a lot to you. Does it mean more than the other albums? And if so, why do you think that is?
I think the main thing I really like about this record is I feel we were extremely deliberate about every aspect of this record. Um, the whole thing front to back feels like a musical, and it's a musical about um becoming becoming aware of the world around you, and the inequalities, and doing something about it. So it, like, I can walk you through it really quick. The album starts with Set the Tone, which sets the tone for the whole album. And it's basically, I imagine the whole album as a musical. And so it's like the curtains open and you get this first piece that's kind of setting the world. Um, uh, we start off with you know, talking about, how the state of the world, and and then the chorus is, well, if you didn't know, now you know. Like, so it's kind of waking up to kind of the horrors of the world. The second track is new horrors. So I see kind of the curtain coming up again on the stage, and you've got this character waking up in bed. Let's call him Ted. Why not, for the sake of the character. And so this character's waking up and he's in his pajamas and he's looking at his phone, and he's just seeing kids being burned in their beds. And every morning it's just the same. Every morning it's a new horror that they're witnessing. Third track on the album is Flag Burner, and it's like he's going off to this job that he hates, and somewhere in the middle of that, he either doesn't make it there through the commute or quits the job and just walks out because he realizes that it's not worth being a cog in a machine to, like, um be the to to live that lie. After that, it's Corpse of Corporations, which is very informed by jobs that I had, um, where I was working for like a huge company. I worked for Gap Corporate for a while. I worked for an insurance brokerage. Um, it's this feeling of that you're being strung along. Uh, you're basically making the money so you can spend the money to come to your job, to like make the money to come to your job, to eat at the food court downstairs from your job. Um, that kind of just endless cycle. Uh, so it's kind of haunting that feeling of like haunting this entity, this dead thing. And one of my friend Chris, who lives out in Canada, Chris Sheriff, longtime friend, member of the Against the Rest crew, brought it up to me as, the corpse of corporations could be uh, the United States. That we're a corpse built on corporations. And I liked that read on it. From there, it goes to Liar, I believe. Um, so Liar is kind of, I imagine this guy has gone back to where he lives, and he's kind of like writing this manifesto, and Liar is kind of him pointing at the administration, calling our current administration liars. And then Maggots is him turning around on the people who support the current administration, and saying, like, your time's up, like, we're coming for you. And then the next one is As Above, So Below, which is kind of the apprehension around creating art in your middle age. um we get told, there's this whole I took this whole quote from Jer on TikTok, where they had a whole diatribe about that we get told when you're over 30 that you're done, like you're not going to make art, like. And they say fuck off with that thinking. Like, we live in a world that actively tries to, like, dissuade you from creating, and you're never too old to create art. You can, maybe you won't be something that the corporations want to sell, but um that's neither here nor there. Like, literally becoming successful in the music industry is like winning the lottery. Like it's a fool's errand. The album, that side of the album closes with that song. So it's like we go to intermission, go use the bathroom, uh, get some popcorn, come back. Empathy is like the reprise. Um, it's basically here's everything that we've talked about so far. Um, the chorus. I don't know if you guys know this. My senior play in high school, I was in Oklahoma. So I was part of the ensemble. So I was in the first 5 minutes of the play, and then I wasn't in the play again until the beginning of the second act. And somehow my high school put on the longest version of Oklahoma ever. It was like 3.5, 4 hours. It was like a dirge. It took forever to get through. So I was grounded while the play was happening. So I would leave after my first 5 minutes. I would just leave and I would go tool around town and go do whatever I wanted to do. Go record shopping, play video games at the arcade, go visit friends, and just make sure I was back about 10 minutes before the second act. So that's kind of like how I feel about like that's kind of my first relation to like musicals is like this impression of Oklahoma. Um, let's see. I don't have I wish I had the layout in front of me. I'm just gonna pull it up right here because I'm having a hard time remembering the song order. Usually I have my phone in my hand and I put it away so that I wouldn't look at it during this. Um, so let's see. Next song after Empathy is Turn Up the Fear. So that's kind of I imagine the main character, he goes and he visits his parents, and the TV's on in their house and it's playing conservative talk TV, Fox News, and he's trying to tell them his view of the world, but they won't pay attention to him over how the talking heads on the TV talk to them. And I feel like that's a unfortunately really relatable thought for a lot of people in my generation, where our parents don't see us as peers. They see us as still their children, and they see us as not having valid thoughts about the state of the world. Um, so there's a line in the chorus about I'll simply reach down for the outlet and disconnect the cord. If I'm in a public space, especially gyms, like the gym in a hotel on tour, and if it's playing Fox News, I'll just walk over and unplug it. But it's also the idea of like these parents are the people that we're going to speak at their funeral, and we're the ones who are going to put them in homes and take care of them in their last days. And I don't know, leave it up for interpretation. But maybe our character unplugs their life support, or maybe he just unplugs their TV. I know if my parents had their TV unplugged, maybe they wouldn't be able to plug it back in themselves. Um, so then, Best Revenge, I imagine that there's some character in some politician, Lindsey Graham, in the administration who passes away. And so it's our first glimmer of hope that these horrible people in power are eventually just going to die. And, we're going to be there to see their demise. Um, and then I imagine that the main character, Ted, he starts making art. And so he's maybe doing like wheat paste art. And so like Panem at Circenses is like him making wheat paste art and like going out and doing a whole action, like putting up this art and like activating other people. And then default settings is like him kind of like understanding the importance of community reliance and you know um, working together and sharing the load, and kind of like building a community of like minds. And then attention is him going back out and doing another one of these actions, like more wheat pasting, but this time it's with a whole crew. And so they go out and they do the whole city. They go citywide with the project. And then all hands on deck is is kind of this like like in Les Miserables, the part where they're on the barricade, and it's the final standoff with like ICE or the like armored military police, and like as the song is kind of fading out, um it's like there's tear gas going across the stage, and it's like obscuring the people on stage who are fighting, and then eventually then the curtain goes down, and that's the end of the play.
It sounds like a to be continued type situation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen Les Mis, but it doesn't go so good for them on the
Right.
barricade. But that's kind of where I feel like we're at.
Yeah.
Um, I just went and saw a youth production of Les Mis, and it brought up a lot of really intense feelings for me. I cried the whole time. They all, also, these kids did a great job. Like, they're phenomenal. If I see any of these kids like at the ice cream shop downtown, I'm gonna be starstruck. Um, they were really, really good, and um, and it was really moving, and it made me, realize that, these. I was talking to my friend T, um, when I was at college, and they said, the only thing that's going to change any of this is actual violent upheaval. And that's a really sobering thought, because I don't want that. Like, I love people. Um like, I always tell people my favorite thing in the world is people, and my least favorite thing in the world is people. And the idea of it having to come to lives being lost is really sobering and sad, but it's also where I think we're getting as a society. And I hope, please prove me wrong, because that's not where I want it to go, but that's where I see it going.
Where do we go from there?
That was an absolutely fabulous breakdown.
It was.
I mean, I really appreciated going from listening to a collection of tracks to it. This is a story, not only just a story, it's a musical. My kids are getting a musical theater right now, and there's so much more beauty and so much more meaning when you like pull things apart, and and it just becomes this whole odyssey. So
Yeah. I mean, there was,
I
I think, you know, I keep coming back to Frank, but kind of having this extra person in the band who really cares, and really challenges the rest of us to go that extra step, and like really think about, okay, the order of these songs. What songs are we going to keep in the album? Somehow we recorded 14 songs, and we put 14 songs in the album. The idea was to pare it back, but we were just like, all these turned out cool. Um, on other records, there are songs that we have never played live, that ended up on a record, maybe just because we were like, just put it on there. Um, but this is one where, like, I want to play this record front to back. Like, I want to play every song on this record. I want this to be the record that people are excited about. Like, I'm happy to play some of the other stuff, but like, these songs mean a lot to me, and I hope that it really shows through, and that when we go out and play some of these songs live, that people can really feel what we're trying to put forth.
Yeah, this sounds like your live performance might beg for a full front to back treatment, maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I know, I know, it was a certain East Bay punk band that used to play at Gilman that kind of strung together a musical at one point. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, maybe maybe
Are you
things
talking
like
about
that.
Green Day?
Yeah, give
So
us
so
a,
I went and saw the Green Day musical with Jason Lechner, who played baritone saxophone in Link 80.
hmm,
And the weirdest thing about that play was that when the whoever dressed the stage, they took flyers that were on poles outside. Like, Oppressed Logic was playing at Gilman that week or that month, and those same flyers were at the back of the stage as part of the set dressing. Like, so it really felt like you couldn't really tell where the line was. And then there's a character in the play, I think his name is Jimmy, and he's like the drug dealer. And he walked out on stage, the actor who was doing this. And Jason and I just looked at each other. We're both like, that looks like Davey Havoc. And then I think about a year or two later in the like Broadway production of it, Davey Havoc actually reprised that role, like
Hmm.
played Jimmy in the play. And so it was like, okay, like obviously you were thinking of somebody when you did this. Um, I really enjoyed it. It was also really weird to hear songs written and sung by an East Bay punk band, performed by classically trained singers and musicians. And I'm sure that it had to be weird for the Green Day guys too, just because like, you know, Billy Joe sings a certain way, but he doesn't sing the way that somebody who's like gone to school for singing sings. He has like a style, and it had to have been a weird feeling. I mean, I feel one thing I was thinking about the other day is Jer being a blue coat, and they had some of their songs performed by the Bluecoats. I was I I I couldn't help but think like that they were really downplaying what an amazing accomplishment that is. To have like come up through this organization, and now this organization is performing songs that you wrote on your album for your band that is your name. I mean, that's great.
It's truly incredible. Um, and I appreciate in your treatment just now that you named your main character Ted, which is the name of my best friend. So,
Oh,
Ted, if you're
okay,
listening,
cool.
Not only your best friend, but the one who introduced you to ska punk, right?
Oh, there
oh,
we go.
how
Yes.
That's
fitting,
nice.
how fitting.
So that's
Go
cool.
on,
I
go on,
really,
Jess.
I like how you just gave that whole breakdown of every track and the order you gave it in. We usually do a segment called Brain on Ska, and we were going to ask you to break down maybe 3 songs. So we got the whole album, which is great. But I am curious, the singles that came out, they didn't come out in that order. So I want to know what thought goes into which singles to release first and why you chose what you did.
Certainly. There's all sorts of different ways that you can think about it, and I've tried all sorts of different things. And in the past, it's usually just been like song one on the album also ends up being the first single. Um, the problem there being that I we're all so inundated by music. There's so much new great music that comes out every week. Um, if you put your single first, they've already heard it, and then maybe they aren't going to dig a little deeper into the record. So I really wanted something that was a little bit further in the record, or even on the B side of the record, to give people something where they're like, well, maybe this song I haven't heard before. So like, I think our first single is, the fourth track on
Mhm.
the record. Um, and so I wanted people to have to get through a couple other tracks. And that's not to say that, Set the Tone could have been a single. We talked about it being a single. New Horrors could have been a single. We talked about that being a single. And Flag Burner, we talked about starting the album with Flag Burner. At one point, I was really pushing to call the album Flag Burner, but I was really worried that it was going to be a little too um, like inciting. Like it would just be like, because I would have just put a picture of a burning American flag upside down on the cover, and then I would have just gotten death threats. Uh, but I was like, and originally the song had a different name, which I can't even remember now. But I was just like, oh, it's Flag Bearer, because the original thought behind that chorus was, what uh, when we reach the day when nothing gold can stay, while my resolve remains unbroken, my heart keeps ticking away. So it's like this idea of like you're standing on the hill bearing the flag as the war wages on around you. Those standard bearers in like old movies always like kind of freak me out, like the guys that are charging forward just with the flag and they're just gonna get taken out by a cannon. That was always kind of just crazy visual to me. But then I was like, man, I don't really want to bear the flag though. I want to burn it. So I just changed the name to Flag Burner.
I'm thinking flags and it's making me think of Supernova. So let's go there.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about happy flags.
Yeah,
So you're playing the Supernova after party.
we are. I hope people aren't too
With
tired.
you,
They won't be.
it won't be. No, they won't.
Okay, good,
People
good.
need their ska punk fix, and that's where a big bulk of it is. It's
Yeah,
you're playing with Las Hablanos, right? I always say that wrong. Las
that was probably the widest I've ever heard anybody say that name, but that's cool.
Most Philly, maybe.
There's Philly way to say it. And Jar, and this will be at the oh fuck, what's the name of that place called again? The Vanguard.
Yeah.
Saturday night of Supernova?
Sunday night, I believe. I
Oh,
think
Sunday night, right? The second night.
yeah,
Second night is usually Saturday. It's different this year.
yeah.
Saturday and
Um,
Sunday only for Supernova.
yeah. I'm excited to do it. I really like Supernova. I can't ever justify just going to go.
Right.
But I really like it as an event. I went a few years ago with In Defense of Ska. Um, and I gotta say, what we were envisioning doing when we were there and what we ended up doing were two completely different things. We were thinking it was going to get like thrown to us between bands up on that like tower, and we were going to do like color commentary, like, "Hey, so you just saw such and such," like almost like VJs on like
Uh-huh.
old MTV. And the way it was set up, there's really no break between bands.
No.
Like you kind of just go band, 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 band. And up on that tower, it's really loud, um,
And scary.
and
And windy.
scary, and it moves around and windy, and they couldn't get the cables and stuff up to where we were to like
Oh, so you
run the
tried
live
this.
stream stuff. We tried. We had tables and microphones up there at the beginning of the first day, and the whole first day ended up getting kind of just burned because they just couldn't get it to work.
Right.
So Aaron and I kind of just threw in however else we could because I didn't want them to feel like they weren't getting their money's worth with us being there. So I started like they needed to put barricades around one of the sound booths at one point, and I don't know if anybody saw me, but I was just hauling sound. I was hauling barricades because I was just like I want to do something. I want to be helpful.
Right.
Um, and then the second day, we did some live streaming from like a tent way far back. But the problem with that was we couldn't see any of the bands anymore. Um, and we never knew when we were supposed to be on or off. So we were just always on. And I kind of lost my voice because we were just talking over loud music all day to whoever came over to talk to us.
Right.
Um, we had some interesting conversations, but for the most part, it was just kind of, it was fine, but it was not the experience that maybe uh, anybody is trying to have at Supernova.
Mhm.
I think most people are trying to go dance and see bands they want to see, or and see friends and eat some fun food and maybe lay in the grass or go out to the beach. It's a beautiful location. Um, if anybody is on the fence about going to Supernova, I highly recommend it. Definitely let this be the thing that pushes you over, and you won't regret it.
I think all of us in the room here highly recommend it, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Are you attending all weekend, I assume?
Oh yeah, I'm getting there for the whole weekend, and we're kind of one of the last things happening, so I'll be
Right.
there till the end, and then fly home the next day.
Anything you're really looking forward to band-wise?
I want to see the A100s.
Yeah.
Uh, that'll be really cool. I always like seeing Rosenstock, mostly because Dan Potthast is in the band, and Dan Potthast is my favorite dude of all time. I'm super excited to see the Impossibles. I'm friends with Rory, but I've never gotten to see the band live.
I have
The
not either.
last
Very excited.
the last tour that Link 80 did before I joined was with the Impossibles. It was Impossibles, Link 80, and MU330, and I'm really bummed that I didn't get to do that tour. I did a ton of touring with ME30 over the years. They're the greatest. But I never got to play with the Impossibles. I did play with Rory when he was in the Stereo, but that was also one of his very last shows with the Stereo because I remember Jamie Wolford, who was in Animal Chin, who was also in the Stereo with Rory. We were all really tight with Jamie, and we also loved the Stereo album. And so we were super excited for the show. It was at Fitzgerald's in Houston, and we showed up to the show. And the first thing Jamie said to us was, "I can't stand Rory. I'm going to kick him out of the band." And we were like, "Oh, okay." So
Awkward.
yeah,
You
super
may have
awkward.
another shot with the Impossibles. Who knows?
I
There,
also saw Gabe from the Impossibles at a Yola Tango show in Austin, Texas. Which, if you don't know, Yola Tango is like a very, very like indie rock band. Um, and I spotted Gabe in the audience, and it was during the era of ska guilt, and I didn't want to make him feel awkward by trying to have a conversation with him over the loud opening band about how I loved his ska band.
right.
A
So,
conversation, if you will.
Sconversation, yes.
They are heading out this weekend with the Boy Detective,
Yeah.
who is also another don't miss them at Supernova, especially if you haven't seen them yet.
Hmm.
They put on
Yep.
quite the live show. All right.
Yeah,
Supernova.
and speaking of live shows, you've Adam, you mentioned in the past that you enjoy playing live. What is it about performing that you love the most?
Um, the immediacy of it. Um, I love being in the moment and actually like making those songs live and breathe again. That's also why I've enjoyed covering Link 80 songs in the past, because I was a fan of that band. Even though I was in that band, I was also a fan of that band. And so I I get a uh huge kick sounds so juvenile though. It's way more emotional than that. It's um having those songs live and breathe in a space again. It's like it's the closest you can get to like time travel or bringing someone back from the dead. Like like I know that like they're not really there, but like hearing those songs again in a loud environment, not just in your headphones, not just the record,
Mhm.
someone performing those songs live. Um, there's nothing like it. And when we played that Link 80, we played a Link 80 cover set down in Anaheim, or Fullerton and at program. And I turned around after setting up, and there were four people in the audience who used to be up front at every single Link 80 show, and they were suddenly there at the very front. Um, it was like conjuring them out of thin air. Like, I mean, I know that they had to drive themselves there. They're the ones who did it. They're the goats, but um, it was magic to be able to see those people again and experience that moment with them again because you never know when the last time you're going to do something is. Like, I was talking to somebody at the park the other day, like, you never know when the last time you're going to take your kid to the park is. Um, so you should enjoy every single time.
Mhm.
And so that's what I'm trying to do. Like every time I get up on stage, I'm fully in it. And I want to keep doing it until I can't. And I'm already doing it way beyond when I thought I wouldn't feel like doing it or feel capable of doing it. And so I'm like, okay, where does it end then? I've got friends now, the guys in Mustard Plug are like all late 50s, early 60s now. And they still are doing Mustard Plug. Like they're all still doing Mr. Smiley. That's crazy. That's awesome. I didn't think we'd have 60-year-old Mustard Plug. Here we are. Incredible. Sure, they all need sleep apnea machines now, but they wouldn't mind me saying that. I had to pick up a hose for one of those guys. There's a medical supply shop here in town, and when they played at Bottom of the Hill, they're like, "Adam, I have a task for you." I was like, "Yes, sir. Let's do it."
Could have lent him one of mine, I guess. Yeah, I really feel and I really appreciate that connection that you have with the crowd, and I remember you posting before about like the intensity of like putting the mic into
Mhm.
fans' faces at shows and just connecting with them. What is it about that experience that you really feel the greatest about, with people singing along your art and contributing to it on stage?
I mean, all these lyrics are just thoughts that I had alone. And so to see somebody else sing those words back to you, like they're relating to that specific moment. And I don't think there's much that's more powerful than like somebody somebody hearing something that you said and wanting to repeat it back to you like that. And also just the physicality of kind of the like putting the mic in the audience and people clamoring for it and wanting to shout in it. And I think it's really empowering as people who maybe don't have the psychotic desire to be in a band like I do, to have that moment of getting to shout into a microphone and feel yourself amplified. Um, it's I mean, I think that's why things like girls rock camp are so important. Like these people being allowed to like express themselves loudly in a world that has told them that they shouldn't. Like it feels really good. Um, yeah, I used to bring my son up on stage when he was really little, and I used to just let him say "fuck" into the microphone really loud, um, just because I thought it was hilarious, and he enjoyed it. Like, and it was like he was getting validation from these adults for like this transgressive action. Um, but yeah,
That's incredibly empowering for him.
yeah.
Are there any particular choruses from Turn Up the Fear that folks out there could that you'd most want to hear coming out of like the Supernova crowds?
There's a part in the song "Maggots." We're not playing "Maggots" at Supernova though. Well,
Oh, we're
sometime in the
not getting the
future though.
front to back.
No, sorry. I mean, well, we didn't want to. Here's the thing: is like I wanted to do front to back. I was ready to just do the whole record, and Frank, in his wisdom, was like, we should play about half of what our set is right now, and then fill it in with half new stuff
Yeah.
from the new record. And I was like, that makes sense. Um, Maggots, though, just has this chorus of "You've made your bed, now lie in it, lying face down in shit," and then we just say "lying face down in shit" over and over and over again. And like, I really love how it came out. It just sounds so violent and chaotic. Uh, that's one where if we get to play that live and we get like people really screaming that part, that'll feel really, really good to me. Um, there's a part. Okay, I think we are playing Flag Burner at Supernova, and there's a part just where everybody yells East Bay, and if at least one person just yells East Bay during that part, I'll be happy.
I know someone who will, even though she's not from the East Bay.
Sure.
Is it me? Is that what you're saying, Beth?
It could be you, but
I'll do
there
it.
was there's a friend
It's a
from my group. The first time I went to Supernova, she had a Link 80 uh,
uh,
shirt. So one of the old school Link 80 shirts. I know she knew.
Yeah. One thing I'm always surprised about the difference between Omnigone and Link 80 in like the 7 years that I've been doing this band, and like a big chunk of that also is pandemic. So let's call it 5 years. Um, because we couldn't really tour or do anything fun. Um, we have so much more merch than than Link 80 ever had. So many more shirt designs. Um, I feel really and we always have stickers. Link 80 was always out of stickers. If you have a Link 80 sticker, it's probably from Asian Man Records. It's probably not one that you got from us because we were always out of stickers.
Jess, I just gave our our fans a reason to go back review our podcast and go back and like rewind the past minute or
What
so,
was
so
that?
they could get all the Omnigone choruses for
Oh, there
Supernova.
you
Yeah, yeah.
go. You talked about putting your kid up on the stage to scream into the mic. I'm curious, are either of them getting into music and wanting to do music like you do?
Yeah, my youngest son James, he started a band. They played their middle school talent show. They just played a cover of Seven Nation Army by White Stripes. Um, they really enjoyed it. And right now, like the garage is like pretty much set up for them to practice again. Like I was like organizing it, and so it was kind of a mess, but it's ready for them to practice again. Uh, but all those kids are just kind of enjoying hanging out at this point,
Uh,
which I'm all for. And I think that's a huge part of starting a band when you're that age is just vibing with other people. Um, and also the thing that I've noticed about all these kids is they don't need punk the way I needed punk. Because they've been raised in households where their parents love them. And that that hits me really hard because I still need hardcore. I still need punk music. I still need to do this thing. And I look at these kids and like I'll show them something that I think is really moving and passionate. Like I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's this clip of this band, The Chariot, like playing their last show ever, and they're just going totally ape shit. Like they're like the song starts and they just one of the guys is in the crowd, the other guy's just wigging out, one of the guys is on top of the drum set. Like they're all just like losing their minds, and the whole audience is in it with them, just going crazy. And I showed it to these kids, and they're just like, "That's goofy." And I was like, "That doesn't move you. That doesn't make you like feel anything." And they're just like, "No, I don't need that." Like, and I'm just like, "Damn." Like it makes me feel good, and it also makes me feel like conflicted because like I've gotten so much out of punk and I needed this and I continue to need it, and I feel like I've raised my kids in such a way where um they don't harbor the same like trauma, I guess. So they don't need it. They enjoy the music. Like my son like comes to shows
mhm.
and loves seeing shows, but he sees all the good parts of it. He sees the camaraderie and the fun, and he doesn't see that like he I don't think he understands like when daddy's up there screaming in the microphone, it's because something's wrong with his brain. Like he needs that. Like um like but it'll just be a different thing for him, I think. Hopefully it'll be a healthier thing.
Mm.
Um, and I've definitely had to like, figure a bunch of stuff out. Uh, and I'm definitely in a healthier place now than, I was as a teenager or a 20 something. Um, but yeah, that was a weird thing. I kind of just like had that realization like a month ago, and it like hit me like a dagger in the heart. And I talked to Derek Zanetti about it the other day, from the Homeless Gospel Choir. We were just chatting online, and I was like, "Man, can I just put this thing on you real quick?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." And I was talking to him about it, and he's just like, I mean, he's like, "I think that just shows that you're a good dad." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." So
Yeah, I would agree with that.
yeah.
I,
That said, like, and but the flip side of it that I talked about with Derek is that I see young bands that are really good right now,
uh,
and I know that, and knowing that part that God, this sounds awful, but knowing that part of what makes them good is that they've dealt with some sort of trauma, is upsetting as a parent, uh, because it means that there's still kids out there that need punk rock for the same reason I needed it. And maybe they're not my kids, but in a way they are my kids because they're, I don't know. I'm a preschool music teacher. I don't know if you guys knew this,
I did not know that.
but like, yeah, all these kids are now my kids.
Okay.
Like, if your kid is near me, they're my kid. Like, I'm gonna parent your kid because I care about your kid. Um, so they're all our kids. And so I want all these kids to be happy and healthy and have good lives. Um, I mean, but Derek was like, good thing that punk's still there for them. The kids who have trauma, the kids who do need to scream into the void. Punk is still there for them.
Yeah, and you never know when they will need it.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't need it today might need it in 5 years, and
Yeah.
you know,
My oldest son doesn't like punk rock.
no.
No, he's come to see a bunch of shows and he's like, "That's cool, Dad. I'm glad you like it. It's not for me." He's like a little old man at heart. He wants to like play D&D and hang out with his friends and do, he does tech for theater. Um, he's got his whole own thing and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm good, Dad." My youngest though, he's into figuring out some of this music stuff.
What does he play? Or does
Uh, he plays trombone. He played in school band.
okay.
I don't know how much of it stuck. I wish he would stick with it, but he
Uh,
doesn't like to practice. Nobody does at that age. Um, he
How,
sings in his band currently.
yeah, how
what
many
were you
ska musicians have stuck with their band programs through school?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's why we have such a, like I was saying earlier, that's why we have such a slim pickings as far as great horn players. The ones that are great are really great, but they're in high demand.
Ox is playing trombone. He's going into his second year of band in school.
Ah, I love that.
But he's really a drummer. He's been drumming since he was 3, and he likes to
How
sing.
how old's Ox now?
He's 10.
Yeah. So James is 13 and they look so similar.
Oh, do they?
They both have like the big curly hair. They kind of both have the same build. Yeah. Every time I see when I saw Ox at Supernova, he looks so much like James. It's
Uh-huh.
like,
I
man,
think you
spitting
said that
image.
actually. I remember this now. And I
Yeah,
think you
yeah.
then picked him up and put him on your shoulder or something.
Yeah, yeah. I've more recently tried to like stop putting my kids online as much because they're
Okay.
kind of becoming their own people.
Mhm.
Um like so I have a personal Instagram, but I don't use it a ton other than to like keep the grandparents updated on
Right.
like what we've been up to. Um and I even put a thing in the bio. So if anybody comes across my Instagram, like my personal one, like just don't add it. Like I don't use it enough. Uh and also there's pictures of my kids on there. And so it just feels like, man, I really don't want just random people who just know me because of
Yeah.
ska music to look at my kids. I mean, sometimes James lets me put him on the Omnigone one. Like I think there's a funny video somewhere of him modeling one of our hoodies. Um, he's really into the idea of like, or maybe he was. I don't know if he still is, but he's into the idea of going on tour with Omnigone. But
Okay.
I've always been like, man, unless you learn how to play an instrument or something, you're gonna end up just hauling gear. And he's like, oh, maybe I don't want to go on tour. But one night he came with us after a Cornerstone show, and so he was out with the band until about 1 in the morning. And everybody vibes with him. He's a funny dude. But he was also just like, man, I am beat. I am tired. And I was like, man, get used to it. This is what tour is. He's like,
Work.
man, F this.
All right. Well, I guess unless you have something that you want to add that we didn't touch on, we can get into our speed round and call it a night.
Yeah, let's do the speed round. I mean, the only thing I have to say is just please check out the new record. It's called Turn Up the Fear. Um, order it from Bad Time Records if you'd like. The variant is sold out, so all that's left is black vinyl at this point. Maybe if we can cut through all that black vinyl, we will get another variant. And we ordered CDs also, so there'll be
Oh,
CDs
cool.
soon. We've had a lot of people requesting them, especially in the UK. And that's another thing. We want to go back to the UK soon. Um, touring in the UK. Okay, this is my last PSA.
Yeah, were you
If you're-
there earlier this year or something?
we were there in April. Ska punk bands. Touring in the UK, if you can tour California, you can tour the UK because drives in the UK are shorter than the drives you would do during a full California tour. Um, it's totally doable. You should do it. You're gonna have fun. The bands out there are great. Uh, the community's great. There's vegan junk food everywhere, so if you're vegan, you're taken care of. Travel Lodge is the hotel you want to stay at. It's like the most budget friendly, and just go. You're gonna have fun.
All right. Speed round, here we go.
Let's go.
Dream collab, band or artist that you want to collaborate with but haven't had a chance to.
I'll just throw out Hobo Johnson. Why not? Let's do it. Let's do a collab with Hobo Johnson. More let's talk about a split. I want to do a split with Against All Authority.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Damn.
Put that into the universe, yes. You
Now,
playing?
what's your what's your bucket list venue? Real, fictional, or could even be like on the moon.
Best venue I ever played at was in Link 80. We used to play a venue called the Fireside Bowl in Chicago. It's still there. It's a bowling alley in Chicago. They don't really host shows anymore, but the shows there that happened in the 90s, if you look up a video of, you can look up a video of Link 80 playing there. The most epic shows ever. It always packed out. Hundreds of kids packed into this bowling alley, little tiny stage. If I could play one more of those shows, like that would be a dream. And then the other bands that I would put on that show, I would have Animal Chin, I would have ME330, I would have Voodoo Glow Skulls, but it would be Baile de los Locos era lineup of the band. So they'd have to bring back a couple horn players. And yeah, that'd be a great show.
I think the Fireside was like 20 minutes from where I grew up. So maybe next time I go to Chicago, I'll stop by and see if they're
You
open
really
shows.
should. You really should.
Sit down.
You can still go in there and you can still bowl. And there still is a stage. It's not the stage that was there. They've cleaned the space up a little bit, I think. Fun fact: when I used to have really nasty black dreadlocks, and one day we got to the Fireside before they opened, and we used to play there tons. We would play there sometimes twice on the same tour, like a month apart. People thought we were from Chicago because we played there so much. And I was out front with my nasty dreadlocks and I was cutting the tips off of them because they were kind of like ratty and falling apart. And I took this gross, gnarly piece of my hair and I duct taped it above the stage, like above where the drummer's head would go. And so in old photos from that era, I look for that. And I've found it in photos before. It's super gross.
We'll have to see if it's still there.
Yeah.
I'll give you a call if they're still open to shows.
Yeah.
All right, my turn. Strangest place you ever woke up?
On tour in Europe once, we used to just like sleep in like squats or like community spaces. And we slept in a space once that was like kind of like a kitchen. And like we got in there like late at night and I had like tacked a sheet up over this like bench it was like an A-frame roof. And so there was a bench in one of the corners and I like tacked up a sheet and then was like laid down behind it and woke up to like a bunch of people speaking some other language that I didn't understand and crawled out in my boxer shorts and my dreadlocks and had these people all kind of go, oh, and they were all happy to see me and they thought it was funny, but I was just like, where am I? We woke up in a lot of weird places. That doesn't happen for me anymore because Omnigone always stays in hotels pretty much. But Link 80 used to just sleep in the weirdest places. In Christiania, we slept on park benches after playing an outdoor amphitheater. and then woke up to a drunk guy who had wandered into the middle of our camp and was like slamming his hand on the table and like yelling. And I just remember I like sat up and looked at him, and then I just laid back down. I just didn't care. I was just like, dude, if you want to slit my throat in my sleep, I don't care.
Right. Your favorite city to play solely based on the food. Bonus points if you say Philly or Chicago.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Oakland. Um, Oakland, California. We have the best burritos. East Bay, East Oakland, taco trucks reign supreme. As San Francisco used to hold the crown for burritos, it's now held by East Oakland. East Oakland has the best burritos. I will fight anybody on that. I also do think though that we need to squash the beef between SoCal and NorCal burritos. Both have their positive and negative contributions to the burrito genre. Um, we need to shake hands on that and figure out how to just create California supremacy as far as burritos go. Yeah.
I've been to California and I don't think I've ever had a burrito there.
Dang. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing also is like all the times that I've been to Chicago and Philly, I don't think I've eaten anything that was like what you're supposed to eat.
Right.
Like I didn't get like a cheesesteak. I didn't get like deep dish pizza. I was always too broke
Mhm.
when I
Not
went to
even a
any of
soft
these places.
pretzel, tasty
What's
cake.
that?
Soft pretzel, tasty cake.
No, sorry. Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of like Sheets and Wawa on tour. So we're just eating garbage, like still as adults. Um, every now and again we try to eat a salad
Well,
to
Wawa
like
has like
balance it
burrito
out.
bowls now.
You can get the most unhinged stuff at Sheets and Wawa, especially with the touchscreen options where they're like, do you want to put tater tots in this? Do you want to put nacho cheese on this? Like, of course I do. I'm a goblin. I want all those things. Um, so yeah.
All right, 3 albums you wouldn't want to live without.
Uh,
Not
Three
your
Mile
own.
Pilot. Yeah, 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 yeah. 3 Mile Pilot, Another Desert, Another Sea. Since we're on a ska podcast, I'm gonna go ahead and say Operation Ivy Energy. Um, and what's my third one gonna be? Um, what's my third one gonna be? Let's go with Downward Spiral, Nine Inch Nails. Uh, I think that's a pretty solid choice. Um, but yeah, it could change any day. I mean, definitely my number one is not going to change. Another Desert, Another Sea. That album was there for me when I really needed it, and I still get a lot out of it every time I listen to it. And when I interviewed the singer on In Defense of Ska, he couldn't understand that that album meant so much to me and Aaron. Um, where he was just like, "Why am I on this podcast?" And I was like, "You literally made one of my favorite records ever." And he was like, "Really? Like, that's so cool. Okay." I don't think he realizes what an impact that album's had.
Well, it is just about that time. We're got to wrap it up.
All right.
But I would like to thank you very much. This was an absolute pleasure having you tonight. Um, share with us to close us out the best way that listeners can support you and Omnigone.
Go to the Bad Time Records website and buy our new album, Turn Up the Fear. I think if you look around, there might even be some copies of Feral laying around. We thought we'd sold the last of them, but I think there's a few. And then there's still copies of Against the Rest because that was pressed in the era where people were buying tons of records. And so we pressed a lot of Against the Rest. So there's still copies of that banging around. Follow us on Instagram. It's Omnigone spelled with zeros in the place of the O's. I'm the one who runs it. If you want to correspond with me, I'm very active on there. It's the one social media that I'm pretty good about doing. If you want to ever email us about anything, omnigonband@gmail.com. Find me at a show. I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about. as long as you're not like super drunk and breathing in my face while you do it. Um, yeah. And even if you do that, I'm probably still gonna let you punish me because I'm too nice. I got cornered at Manchester Punk Fest by a guy, and he very passionately wanted to speak to me about something, and he was extremely drunk, and it was to the irritation of many of my friends and my band. And I just let him do it though because I cared to hear what he had to say. And but
Hello.
in retrospect, I was a little bummed. What's up, Ox?
So
What's up?
You remember
Look at all
Adam?
that. Look at all that hair. He's like, no, I've never seen that man before in my life.
Do you remember him for real? Yeah, he says he does.
Hi, Ox.
He has a very good memory. He's a
Good
sponge.
job,
All
dude.
right. I don't know why he's awake because it's midnight.
It is way past his bedtime.
Yeah, my kids are just about.
We don't have many rules, obviously.
I love it.
Time is not real. Anyway, before we close this up, there was one more question I wanted to ask that we didn't get in, and that is, who was the last band you listened to in the car?
I listened to Fred Wesley and the New BJs, I think. I have a compilation tape in my car called Barrio Music Volume 3. I have Volume 3 and 4. I've been listening to 3 a lot lately. And it has 96 Tears on it, but then it also has a song called Do It to Death by the New JBs, and it's just like a funk jam. Um, and I listened to that when I drove over to teach preschool music today. And the thing also is I've been thinking a lot about playing guitar lately because I don't play guitar in the band anymore. Now that Frank does, and Frank's a very good guitarist. Um, and when we recorded Against the Rest and No Faith, I also hadn't been playing guitar very much. So Barry would have to like wait for me to like relearn guitar in the studio. He'd be like, "Okay, come on, like get to it." And and so like watching Frank, he practices so much and he's so solid. But I've been playing nonstop for a year at all these preschools as a teacher, and while a lot of it's just basic chord stuff, I got out of the van today after listening to the JBs, and I was like, that funk guitar thing is just it's just this one thing through the entire song. And I grabbed my guitar and I instantly knew how to play it. And I was like, oh, I'm actually not terrible at guitar.
There you go.
So,
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. It was a pleasure, and we'll see you at Supernova.
see you at Supernova.
And I just want to remind all the listeners, if you didn't catch us from the beginning, it will stay up on YouTube, and we will put it up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify within the next week. And we want to remind you that if you want to have a scene, you have to be the scene.